question I asked at the start of the session, then we had the 2 shots there. One was a full shot, one was a short shot. So making these setups looking the same sort of height. Which now is the short shot, which is the long shot? Yeah, we can easily see the difference, okay? Because you've kind of preset yourself. You bring in your right foot in closer, in turn moves the ball back a little bit, or moves in the other way, moves your chest over the golf ball more. So your position now is just left there. It's going to make your club bottom out a bit earlier, a bit later, rather than behind the ball on occasion, which you had before, okay? This one here now, as we said, you try to position the golf club to about there. So we just draw some circles around here on the golf club. It's kind of the arc of your swing kind of around there. So you thought originally for 40 yards, and I would agree that would be about a 40-yard backswing to me, assuming that if the club goes there, that's about your 80-yard shot. Ballpark, I think it's about halfway round kind of thing, okay? So that's about level with your head there, okay? So that's where you thought the backswing needs to go to. In reality, then, when the golf ball got there, it was way too far, as we can see, okay? A long backswing, okay? It's taking the golf club now, probably, if anything, nearer to the fullest swing, although I think your full swing the club got down about there, probably. So kind of halfway between where you thought and where the full swing was. And as we said, the better the player, the nearer the original spot they want to get to, they do get to, okay? The worse the player, the more around this where they end up getting, okay? So your club was, I say, a little bit too long. And that just creates too much power. So now you're having to try and slow the club down, decelerate, all of the above. And any time that club is slowing down, you've lost control. Like the example of riding the bike. So if you're trying to ride a bike really slowly, it's hard to do. You put some speed in there, your balance is kind of maintained, okay? As well as if you're trying to hit the golf ball cleaner and the ball is sort of more centred or more left of centre because of your full start position you had, to get a better contact, you've got to then move to the left, which, as we said, that movement to the left in turn gives us the feeling of power. So we've got too much power in the backswing. A movement we've got to make to get a good strike by moving left and try and slow the club at the same time. There's 2 forces there that are fighting against one another, or 3 forces actually, and you get it right because you're a reasonable good golfer. You can get some good shots on the mat, you get some lovely shots, but on a golf course when the ground's a little bit soggy, as you said, you catch it a hair behind the golf ball, it's face full of mud and the ball goes like 20 yards at best. So this one here now is more preset, feet maybe a little bit to the open there, hips sort of cleared out of the way, just a bit more leaning on your left side there. Your backswing now was there. So that's kind of where you wanted it to be on the first one, okay? And so from there now, if you go through, we can accelerate with quite a bit of energy there to the back of the ball, and these golf balls are coming, which I would expect 5-10 yards too short, okay? Because you're used to having to try and slow the club down just a little bit, and to try and accelerate and trying to find how much acceleration needs to be. A bit of practice come with that, say. But I'm not saying for 1 second you've got to try and hit it so you lose balance, okay? It's still a controlled acceleration, but at the same time, as long as your club can accelerate through the golf ball and you control it, you'll get more spin, more often not a better strike, and by controlling that club face with the speed, you're able to just, judge distance and the contact in one, which then hopefully then when you're judging the distance, a better strike or a more consistent strike allows you to do that. If you catch it, if you swing a golf club to there, if you hit the ground behind the golf ball, if that's going to go, we'll say 60 yards, hit the ground first, depending on how far behind, it could go from 20 to 30 yards. If you catch the ball in the middle, it could go 80 yards. Okay? If your contact is fairly similar, you're always going to be within that sort of 5 yards either way. And that's kind of your goal. When you're on the golf course, 20, 30, 40, up to maybe 50 yards and closer, you want to average 3 shots a time. And if I said, okay, right, here's a pitching wedge or a sand on or any club, chip it onto the green and 2 putt. It's quite easy, isn't it, really? And it doesn't take a lot to do that. If I said, okay, right, hit a driver off the deck, 250 with a draw, that's hard. So these things that don't seem that difficult can really bring the scores down. So I'd always say, in terms of your warm-ups, use these shots as your warm-ups. At least you're getting some practice with them, okay? And if you get a chance, maybe half of your sessions, I know you've been busy, obviously, with stuff with these sessions going on, half of your sessions, if you can, spend at least 50% of the golf balls you hit with your non-head covered clubs, I'll call them. Okay. The wedges, So you start working more on those wedges to get a bit more control. Try different wedges. Try your 52. Try your 60. Try your different. Just see what trajectory you get. How's the club come off and react to the golf ball? Those kind of things. Okay, mate? Make sense?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay.